Thank you, Chairman. I really appreciate all of our witnesses focusing on youth apprenticeship. It is critically important, and in my district, we have several high schools that are in the IB program, and then they are also providing technical programs. Like one high school in my district is Troy High School, and they provide not only the IB but Troy Tech programs through which they encourage their students to take 150 hours of internship, and they do get credit for their graduation requirements. And all of you spoke about the need to make this, as Mr. Ginsburg, you mentioned, you don't want this to be just a program, but you want this to be a transformational system. And Ms. Watkins, Ms. Covey, you all talked about utilizing the intermediaries, and Chairman also asked through your question how we can replicate this through nationwide efforts so that it could become a system, not just a program at one school or one district. So what are some of the challenges that you faced, Mr. Ginsburg, as you make this career-wise a successful program? When you work with the local school districts, presenting this idea to provide the students with the credits, what kind of challenges, if any, did you face in making this idea into a credit offered system?
I assumed when I first learned about this approach at ETH University in Switzerland that our biggest obstacle would be the schools. How do you take a young person out of class for both 2 days a week and then 3 days a week and earn their credit? In the room with me in the delegation was the head of curriculum at Denver Public Schools, and she said simply, I can do that. And we now have 17 school districts that do that. So the challenge, frankly, is not the schools directly, it is in how they schedule. If you have block schedules, as some districts do that we, in other states that we work with, it's difficult to let a student out. So, changing those policies and scheduling to enable it is one way to address that problem. The real challenge, honestly, is scale with business. They need the support which intermediaries provide to give them the tools, the training, and the technology to successfully launch a youth apprenticeship program, and youth is important. The statistics that you were sharing earlier go up to 24. Doing this while students are still in school, I believe is key, is the bridge to opportunity and the systemic change that we need. And the numbers that we're seeing at CareerWise are much more balanced, both in male and female, with over-indexing on marginalized communities in terms of the outcomes and those students that are being hired.
Thank you. I want to address the next questions to Mr. Ebbing, who's joining us virtually. In your testimony, you talk about raising awareness of the opportunities that exist for youth apprenticeships and career development courses in high schools. That's what everybody's talking about, but specifically through your hometown opportunity. So can you please elaborate on that and talk about that resource as well as other ways that you are raising awareness for those programs? And can you cite some of the examples?
Yeah, most certainly. Appreciate it. Appreciate the question. Yeah, so when I first got into this role, it was just startling of how many young people and their families just didn't know. They went through high school, they would go through the traditional route and would graduate and just didn't know either what was here or what training programs even existed. So they just kind of followed the beaten down path of what had always been. And what has always been isn't what is today, and what's the future for our companies and what they need and what the training options that are truly out there. So we realized early on, all these programs that could and would exist aren't going to make an impact if students aren't aware of what they need to be, aware of. So we kind of just started with that simple process of creating, relationships with our schools and our companies to make sure the schools, the guidance counselors, the teachers all knew what these opportunities were. And again, created this platform that really helps connect the dots, create that curriculum, create that content that students, can say, oh, I didn't know this was an option for me. And just in the last 10 years since we've been doing it, I mean, the number of young people that are, 10 years ago were just straight going off to college, which there's nothing wrong with that, but just simply doing it because I would say 90% of our students were going down that path. Now I'd say it's closer to probably 50-50. Many more young people are going into the career-based fields. Our careers, high schools are filling up. Like I said, at least 50% of the students are now going that direction. And many, many more are enrolling in pre-apprenticeship programs and then apprenticeship programs. So to us, it really starts with awareness and making sure the students at as early age as possible understand what's here and start to direct them into what programs could be. If we do that right, I think more and more students will take advantage of these programs and will most certainly benefit the companies because they have somebody that, truly wants to be there and understands why they're going in that direction. So.
Thank you. I'll yield back. We're over time.
Thank you.